to this video about market sophistication levels. So the same product can be impossible to sell in one market and easy in another. And it's not because the product is different, it's actually because the market is different. And most e-commerce founders that we're talking to are running messaging to sophistication levels behind where the market actually sits. So we're going to talk about everything that comes or that is relevant to talk about when it comes to market sophistication levels. And it's very important for how you structure your marketing and how your messaging sounds on your landing pages, in your ads, and anywhere else that customers actually see. So what is market sophistication? It's not actually about your product. It's about how much your customer has already seen about your product or your product category. So how many similar products have they tried? How many claims have they been exposed to? How many promises have they stopped believing? And the more exposure that a customer gets to a specific product or a specific industry, the more sophisticated the market becomes and the harder it is to convert with simple messaging. So let's just take a quick example here. Let's try and sell creatine to a bodybuilder with the message creatine builds muscle mass. Well, creatine has been on the market for 30 plus years at this point, and every claim has been made: strength, muscle, recovery, performance. They've heard it and they've tried it and they've moved on, and now they probably just take creatine because they know everything. So that market doesn't need a claim. It needs a new reason to believe that if your specific creatine is better than all the other ones. So it's just to say that this, for example, creatine is a market with a very high sophistication level. So we're going to see how it is possible to sell products in every sophistication level. So Eugene Schwartz, 5 sophistication levels. So he mapped it out in the 1960s. It still holds today. Each level needs different messaging. And if you do skip a level, then your ads are going to stop working. So the first level is new claims. So this is a fresh market that people haven't seen before, and a simple benefit is going to work. Then there is the level 2. Here we need a bigger claim. So same promise as in the new claim, but amplified. Then we have level 3. This is where we have to introduce a mechanism. Why does this work when the others don't? Level 4 becomes even more sophisticated. We need proof and contrast. Numbers, people, validation. We probably want to have some sort of an authority figure in the market that we can lean up on. And then we have level 5, basically identity plus offer. So at level 5, there's so much going on that we can't sell the product itself. Now we're going to have to sell an identity to people and focus on our offer. So let's go through each of these individually, and then I'll come with some examples of how to attack some of these sophistication levels. So level 1, basically a new claim. The market has never been seen in this category before. Customers are completely fresh. There's no skepticism, there's no comparisons, no fatigue. So a simple benefit statement works because the product itself is the story. So let's just take creatine back when it was becoming a big thing. Build muscle faster with creatine. People are like, oh, wow, okay, that's pretty interesting. And that works when when they're not sophisticated enough, when they haven't seen this product before. Then we move on to level 2. This is where we have to be a little bit bolder in our claim. So competitors have also entered the market. The basic claim isn't enough anymore. So you have to make it a bit bigger, more emotional, more specific. So the same promise as mentioned before, but amplified. So with creatine, it could be build muscle 30% faster than training alone, clinically proven. So again, same claim, but there is more. I was about to say there is more fact to it, and it also says clinically proven. So it removes some skepticism. Then we move on to the third level. So this is where we have to introduce a mechanism. Customers have heard the bigger claim dozens of times, so stopped believing it, and the only way through claim fatigue is to explain why your product works when others don't. So you introduce a mechanism or scientific or chemical reason behind the result. So creatine in a competitive market, creatine monohydrate saturates the muscle phosphocreatine stores by 27%, increasing ATP regeneration during intense training. So again, this is going to be a mechanism that our creatine or that our story has that the other competitors are not using. Then we move on to level 4, proof and contrast. So mechanism claims have also been overused, and customers don't trust explanations anymore. They need proof. Specific numbers, real people, third-party validation, doctor or expert endorsements. So an example of creatine level 4, my athletes added 8 kilos to their squat in 12 weeks. I've never recommended another brand since. Doctor, performance scientist. So again, this comes from a credible source that people trust, because hey, if it is a doctor and a performance scientist, he must know something about the products that I don't. Then we move on to level 5. Again, this is where this up here actually doesn't work either. The market is fully saturated, every claim, mechanism, and proof angle has been seen before, and the only way left is to bypass the product conversation entirely. You have to sell to the identity. Who do they want to be? What group do they want to belong to? An example could be creatine at level 5 for lifters who treat their training like a profession, not a hobby. So now we're saying, hey, this it's actually becoming a lifestyle if you purchase our creatine, rather than just a product. So this is what you see, for example, with a lot of fashion brands. Again, they're not selling anything that the world hasn't seen before, every type of fabric, etc. So now it's more about the lifestyle and the person that the customers are going to become by using your product. One thing that is interesting here, that is that the level isn't fixed by your product, it's fixed by your audience's exposure. So the same product can have completely different sophistication levels, compared to who you're trying to sell it to. So if we're trying to sell creatine to the bodybuilding market, it's going to be level 4 to 5. Every claim is made, every people knows about it, it's saturated, identity and offer are the only ways to go. But if we're trying to sell creatine to women over 50, it might be more around level 1 to 2, because for muscle retention and bone health, this is going to be fresh years. It's a simple benefit statement that people didn't know creatine could actually work for, solve those issues if people are having, for example, issues with their bone health. I'm not sure about this claim. This was just an example, but it shows that it can actually be different compared to the different avatars that you're targeting. So don't only fixate your focus on the product. Try to see, okay, what is the sophistication level of my ideal customer? Now, most brands, they run messaging 2 levels behind. So they lead with a simple benefit claim in a level 4 market and wonder why their ads doesn't convert. They lead with proof and identity in a level 1 market and over-educate buyers who just want the benefit. So the level kind of decides everything. It's your hooks, your creative, your landing page, your offer structure. So the rule is pretty much when sophistication is high, marketing must introduce new angles, mechanisms, or positioning that feels different from what customers have already seen. Although you have to understand what the sophistication level in your industry and for your audience is to create marketing that actually resonates with the audience. Without that, you're going to be creating ads that are not relevant to where your customers are. Now, the strategic overlap. Differentiation marketing doesn't just find new avatars, it also finds new and lower sophistication levels. So if you go and see my video on marketing out competition and marketing differentiation, you're going to learn more about this. But if you actually use that strategy and differentiate your marketing, you can also find lower sophistication levels that are easier to sell to, basically. So same product, but you might have entered a market where simple messaging still works. All right, so the result is going to be that the brands scaling fastest know exactly which level the market sits in. They match their messaging to that level, not what they personally find compelling. And when the level gets too high, they don't fight harder. They try to find new audiences where the level resets, or they follow the levels. So they kind of match their advertising to the new level that get developed over time in markets. So that is also why when you start out, for example, if you have a very unique product, everything goes well for the first year, and then competitors enter and it becomes harder and harder to advertise, but you might still be using the same old creatives and the same old messaging because it always worked. It might be that the sophistication of your customers have just evolved without your advertising evolving in the same direction. So that's very important. I hope this video was valuable to you, and yeah, I'll see you in the next video. Let me know if there's any comments. I'll make sure to respond to all of them, or either here on YouTube, or you can also shoot me a DM on Instagram.